Let's talk about scuba tanks. Woohoo!
Scuba job. Scuba tanks come in any size. For example, 50 cubic foot, 40 cubic foot, 80 cubic foot tanks. Which one do we need for scuba? Good old recreational fun. I think this one.
Scuba tanks. The air that we need to go have fun, adventure. Well, the standard scuba tank for most recreational divers is a aluminum cylinder and it's 80 cubic feet. Now, what I have in front of me here are two of them. One is brand new, still got its plug in. The other one here, we'll talk more about later, but it failed its hydro. So we'll talk about that later. But the first thing you need to know about a aluminum 80 cubic foot tank is what's important about it. Everybody goes, it takes a tank. Well, actually, there's more to it. This guy has a whole life on his own. For example, there's a whole list of information right here that's stamped within it. Okay, I'm going to read off this one here. This one here starts out with DOT 3AL 3000, meaning that it's a aluminum tank, 3000 psi, which is a standard fill for scuba tanks. Just a point. Then it goes on to give me CC538546. That's the serial number. Woohoo! Got to know that. And then it says M5657. Okay. That's the model number. Everything's got a model number, serial number. Okay. And then it goes 08 and it has this funny little symbol on it and it says 19. That's the born on date. You can always tell it because the stamp that's in between the two date numbers is always unusual compared to everything else. It's either a symbol or it's a stack of numbers and a letter. But this tank was born 08 of 2019. All right. And then when we continue on going past that, we see that it is XS, meaning XS Scuba. That's a manufacturer. It's an 80 cubic foot tank. There you go. So that's what this tank is. That's the information right here. Now you're asking me, why is that important? Well, two reasons right off the bat. One, what if I want to have nitrox in here? That might be important because every time I go to get my nitrox filled, they're going to ask me for my serial number, so they know what tank was filled. The other question that might come up later is, what about a hydro? Or hydrostatic testing is what it's referred to. That's where the cylinder is tested. Now, I won't go into too much detail because they do make some really good videos on YouTube you can watch, just saying. But in a nutshell, DOT says that every 5 years, this has to be hydrostatic tested. So if it was 08-19, that means that in 5 years will be 08-24, it's going to have to be done again. Okay, and it'll be sent off to have that done. So that's really important. Pay attention to that. Now, the other thing that most people don't realize is these cylinders have an inspection sticker. Looks like this. And it's going to be placed at the bottom of the tank or at the top. Okay, it can be placed anywhere. But what's really important about this sticker is when the tank has been inspected. Whether it's PCI, PSI, there are a few others out there, but it has to be visually inspected once a year. Now, just like the hydro date on here, when we put an inspection sticker, it's the same date. Not being the exact same date, but the date of when the inspection or born on was done. So it's 5 years after that date, or in the visual sticker realm, 1 year after that, that's good. Okay, so what ends up happening, you're saying, oh, what's that mean? Well, it's real easy. You bring it into the store, shop store. I let all the air out of it. I take the valve off, like what's happened here. I do a visual inspection both on the inside and the outside. Now, some of you are going, but I put a lot of stickers on mine for all the places I travel. The frustrating thing is I've got to take those off in order to do a good visual inspection of the outside of the cylinder. Now, at the same token, I've also got to look inside. Remember I said I'd take the air out? So I take the air out, I take the valve off, and I have to do a visual inspection. Now, the visual inspection inside involves several things, but two of the big ones is checking the threads to make sure they're all there, making sure that there's no corrosion in it, okay? Because while we're talking about the aluminum 80, they do make these in steel too, okay? There's some carbon fibers out there somewhere, but the aluminum 80 is still the industry norm cylinder, okay? And when we're doing that visual inspection, we're checking the inside. We're looking to see if there's any pitting in it. We're looking to make sure, remember I said those thread counts? Okay, make sure that they're in great shape. We're also going to, oh, by the way, notice the thickness of the wall. About 5/8 of an inch thick. That's why they're so heavy. They can take that pressure. So I look inside. I'm looking to see if there's anything wrong with it. Okay? I do have gauges. I do have things to check it to make sure that it meets within standards. Once I've done that, then it's ready for its sticker. Now, with that being stated, we've also got to put a valve on it. Back on it. Now the valve, okay, comes in two forms. A standard yoke or a DIN, Deutsch Industry Norm. Okay, but before I can put this valve on, I need to make sure that the stem is on there, that it's tight. I need to make sure it has a new O-ring. Okay. I need to visually inspect it to make sure that it is in working order. I also need to make sure that that it's been completely rebuilt and clean. Because remember I said earlier, what if you're doing nitrox? Oh, this is going to be nitrox compatible. Okay, and it will even be stamped right here saying that it is, or it has to be O2 clean. Okay, for those partial blending crew. Okay, handles on there correctly, and it's tightened. It's got an O-ring in it, especially for our yoke valves. All right, now some of you are saying, but I don't have any need for a DIN. Well, that's cool, because they make an insert. The insert actually screws in here, okay? I'm not using any wrench, by the way. So, get it in there, you tighten it with a wrench. Looks like a yoke. Works like a yoke. Now, do keep in mind that the insert doesn't work on all valves. It has to have this dimple and be designed for it. Got to remember that. Once we've got this, whether it's oxygen clean, along with the tank is oxygen clean, and we put it on, we got to insert it, tighten her up. Keep in mind, there we go. La 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 la. Okay. We'll use a tool, tighten it up. Okay. Once it's tightened, it's now ready for an air fill. Okay. Standard fill for a SCUBA aluminum 80 tank is 3,000 psi. Okay. Fill it up to 3,000 psi. It's now ready to be given to the customer, with one exception. This guy needs a cap. Now the cap we put on it, especially if it's a new one, okay, we'll slide right over the top of it, like so. Okay, this tells us three things. One, more than likely it's full of air. Two, it also protects the soft brass valve, okay, so that it doesn't get damaged. Pretty important, especially on travel. Okay, but also it keeps anything from getting inside this and keeps that O-ring in place while we're waiting to use it. And of course we use it, we don't put it on unless we're traveling. So when we take it back and there's that sign that says empty, well, guess what? We can put it there. Okay, so next time you're thinking about renting a tank or buying one, ask yourself a couple basic questions. One, if you're renting it, is the visual inspection sticker up to date? Two, is the hydrostatic testing up to date? Because if you rent it from the shop, they're doing a great job taking care of you, but then you decide, hey, I'm gonna be driving for a little bit, and it just happens to be the 28th, and you decide you are going to go out of state, take it with you, and now it's the first of the next month, okay, might be out of date. So think about those when you're making your trips so that these are all good. It's not saying that they won't take care of you, but if you have to have it filled in another location, ooh, it's really important to have this stuff current for what your needs are. Okay, at the same token, this is your personal tank. Well, in order to get it filled, has to have a current inspection sticker, has to have a current hydro. So remember, when you're thinking about, hey, am I renting a scuba tank or am I buying a scuba tank? What do I need? Well, aluminum 80. And you may even consider going with a valve on it, just like this universal. So that down the road you say, hey, I'm going tech. I don't know why, but it sounded really cool. You can take the insert out, bam, you're ready to go as a tech diver. And then remember to have a cap for it and take care of it, because the better care you take of the cylinder, the longer it lasts and the more enjoyable experience you will have.